with Cheetah 3D. The program, you can search it down. You want to open up the Cheetah 3D. Just has the icon of a cheetah, and you can keep that in your dock for later use. When the program pops up, what you want to do is just go File, New, and this is going to be our setup. So today, somewhat simply, we're going to make a model, which we're going to eventually animate. You could also make a model in ZBrush and export it as an OBJ file. We're going to make it in Cheetah today, just to make it a little bit easier, hopefully. A couple tools you want to know. Just up at the top, this one right here is drop down to shapes. We're basically messing with ball, box, and cylinder today, just to make this body. Just making a guy that we can make run. So first thing you want to do is start with just the core of the body. So we're going to make a box, and what you can see here is these top right and left buttons are going to move that thing forward, backward, up, and down. Those little boxes there, though, make this object skinnier, taller, longer, whatever. So what we want to do is basically make the hips of this guy. So something, if you hold down Alt-Option on your keyboard and you click in the background, you can spin similar to what we had in the Sculptress, and then your zoom bar should zoom you in and out. So you might want to use a mouse that has that functionality. And so what we're going to do is once we have this kind of set, I'm just going to move this up a little bit so you can see, and this is about the shape that you want to start out with. We can always make it bigger later on if we need to. Next one I'm going to do is go ahead and make a cylinder. Okay, so here's our cylinder. We want this to be part of a leg. Actually, you know what, we're going to undo that. We're going to actually add a little ball joint for them before we do the cylinder. So go ahead, you can either Command Z that, or if you have it selected, you can hit delete something. So we're actually going to make a ball for the joint. And so here's our ball. We want to make this thing fairly small. Shrink it up just a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead, make that a little bit smaller than that. I'm going to go ahead then and move this up, and this is going to be just one of the legs. So let's see how that's looking. Not too bad. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. That looks pretty good. Now the easy thing at this point is once you kind of have your one of your shapes made, you can actually just duplicate stuff. So that's one of the things we are definitely going to use just to make life easier on ourselves. And I am having this overlap a little bit, so you want to see that the ball there, it kind of sticks up into the base of the legs there, right? So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to make sure that ball is selected, and we're basically going edit, copy, edit, paste. Okay, so I'm going to use from now on Command C, Command V to do that. So I have the ball, and I'm going to go Command C, Command V, and then it's pasted it right there on top. This is similar to your layers window, so you can see you have box, ball, and then it's going to auto name it ball 1. What we're going to do then is just move it over to the other side. Okay. And kind of get that set up in the same spot. You can double check underneath by Alt-Option clicking, and in the background and moving your mouse. Okay, now we're going to go make our cylinder. And it's going to be the actual leg. So this will be fairly skinny. You can see I'm just going to keep rotating my tool so I can see the edges here and check out what's going on. Make that a little bit longer too. And then I'm going to move it up into one of the leg joints. So you can kind of see how that's connecting. And again, I want these things to kind of overlap. So I want that thing to actually fit inside the other. Make that a little bit skinnier. Looking pretty good there. And again, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but you want it to, look somewhat like a leg. From there, okay, same deal. We're going to command, once it's selected, Command C, Command V to paste. I'm going to move that over. And now we're actually going to make the knees, and we're going to make the knees the same way that we did the, this part. And we're just basically going to copy. So I click on one of the joints up there. I'm going to Command C, Command V, and move that down so that that's become the knee spot. Now, if you want to make it a little bit larger or something, you can. That could work. Okay, that looks pretty good, right? And it's sitting inside of that joint, so that's good. Then again, we're clicking on the new one, Command C, Command V. Move it over to its new spot. Okay. And now I'm just copy and pasting these cylinders. So Command C, Command V. All right, same deal. Command C, Command V. Move it on over. And those are looking pretty good for the legs, I think. And basically, maybe, you know, one thing I might want to add a little bit more to the body here, so I'm gonna maybe bump this out just a little bit, make his torso or whatever you want to call this a little bit larger, a little bit taller too. And I'm just gonna move that up. Again, important that all the things kind of connect to each other too. All right. So there we go. And then the last thing we're gonna add on here is our foot or our feet. So I'm gonna hit the box and I'm gonna lower that box down. I'm gonna spin this around a little bit and just drag it out so it's nice and long. And then I'm gonna skinny it up so it's not real thick. Okay. Go a little bit skinnier there. And let's start moving this into place. So this is gonna be one of the feet. Now, I mean, you wanna make sure this is proportionate too. One thing, if you don't have these things overlap enough, that's when you get some weird stuff happening later on when we animate. Okay, I'll skinny that up maybe a little bit, and then I'm actually going to move it over so it's kind of more on the outside. I just don't want these feet to, you know, hit each other. Now, if these things are too close, let's see if we can shift select these maybe. I mean, if we really needed to, we could space all this out. So if you wanted to move everything over a little bit, give it a little bit more breathing room, you could. You know, obviously you just want to have enough space for your object to function, right? You know, we are going to make it walk or run, so we're going to give it enough room. So again, these tools are fairly common. You know, we're just using those arrows and just making sure stuff is lining up how we want it. And the copy functions, you know, makes this a lot easier. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to just maybe make the foot a slight bit skinnier. Okay, you just have to kind of get used to what direction those are all going. Put that up there. Okay, now this is in place, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the box for the foot, and I'm going to Command C, Command V, and then pull it out. That looks pretty good for now. You know, I mean, and honestly, if you wanted to today, you could get crazy and you could do all the rest of the body. But I would say, at least for right now, for this second, stop so you can kind of get this thing going. If you want to build more onto it later, you can. Tomorrow, we're just going to really focus on the legs. So this being said, if you look back down to your object browser, which is kind of like your layers, if you want to click on that top box, that's good that that thing's on top. You want to make sure that is on top. So if anything else is out of order, make sure you move it. And I can easily move these things. Okay, so I'm going to put that back on top. Next thing, you see that little green box there, we want to click that, and that makes it editable. Okay, and that's important for the next step. This is basically going to be our master parent objects. We're going to call this legs. Legs parents, or, you know, you just call it legs. I don't really care. And what we're going to do is we need to actually drop all of these green ones, all the other shapes, onto the legs parent. So we're going to shift select them just by clicking and holding down shift. Probably the easiest way to do that. And I'm just going to drop, okay, directly on top of the legs parent. So now you can see if it closes up, then it's good. Next thing I'm going to do then is once I drop those on there, I'm going to make sure I highlight that legs parent. I'm going to go up to tools and import children. Okay, and you're going to see this thing turn to mesh, and that's good. And then last but not least, we're going back down to our objects browser. I'm double clicking on that little red editable option, and that collapses all these things down into one thing. So you could at this point you could go file, save this file. Legs. I'm just going to call it legs build demo, and that file format JAS is good for right now. But the other thing we want to do is for tomorrow we're going to file. We're going to export this as an OBJ file. And I'm just going to call that legs build demo again. Hit save, and now we have that, and we'll be able to bring this in tomorrow. So if you want to, you know, you could go back here, you know, before all this was collapsed, and you could continue to add on stuff. If you know things need editable, or if you want to build one again and rewatch the tutorial, it might be helpful. But at least for tomorrow, this is the place where you want to be. Okay.